Hi everyone, Wednesday, October 26th, and it's still raining. Still raining in Santiago. It's been every day this week. It's been pouring down. I've been having to get my son to school in the car every day this week and last week. Normally we walk, but with the rain it's better to take the car, which makes it a bit of a more of a hassle to get to school. But anyway, that's life. Otherwise, pilgrim-wise, Compostelas are slowly moving downwards, the number of people getting the Compostelas every day. It's normal now to be about 1,800. I've seen 860 I saw the other day. I think 900 and something yesterday. So there's still quite a pilgrims out there. And I talked to someone the other day saying that it was more than normal. They had walked it before the pandemic and they found it much busier now than back then. It is true though that I think if you wait another 2-3 weeks now, it's going to drop even more. And of course, the whole year makes a difference. So as you can see, outside it's not raining right now, but it's going to. And I mean, we had a big drought this summer, and we're still kind of in a drought, although it has been raining for a while now. I saw in the paper today that they said it had rained 26%. So far this month, it's rained 26% of what it normally does in a year. So we had a lot of rain lately, but we need a lot more for the various dams to be filled up. So when spring and summer comes, we're ready for another drought, because if it doesn't rain more than this, we're still not out of it. So anyway, that's life. I also had talked to some people this week that came by with COVID and, a bit of a stressful situation. Tried to help them as much as I could, but it's difficult and it gets very frustrating. So although there's much less COVID, please have a little bit of a plan if you're going to walk this winter, of what to do, and add some extra days just in case you need to get stuck somewhere and you have to isolate and everything, because having to reshuffle plane tickets and bus tickets and train tickets when you're not feeling great is not a good thing. So if I were you and you're walking this winter, just add some extra days, try and be flexible, so that if worse comes to worse, then you have to take a few extra days off. You can do so without stressing too much. Otherwise, I saw an interesting link this week in the forum that someone found from a newspaper in Navarra, because we've been talking about this being a crazy pilgrim year, a lot of pilgrims, and that's if you look at it from Galicia, from Santiago, right? But there was a link to a newspaper articles in Navarra, which is of course where Roncesvalles is and Pamplona is. That's the beginning of the Camino Frances. And they are saying, the headline says, the Camino Santiago loses 10,000 pilgrims in Navarra. So let me just read the first few lines here. It says, until this year, until October 1st, 42,160 people have gotten their credential stamped in Roncesvalles. That is 20% less than in 2019, when 52,081 did so. Even so, the albergues in the area has had a good season, they say. So that kind of tells you a little bit. It's the Sarria to Santiago, the last 100 kilometers that has had a big increase, seems like, and then it looks like if you go further back, it hasn't increased as much. Actually, it may have decreased. And you could see these are some statistics. Normally when you get statistics about the number of pilgrims, you get it from the Pilgrims Office in Santiago. This statistic is interesting because it is from Roncesvalles. So from the beginning, not from the end of the Camino, but from how many have started. And you could see the graph on the right of these two. You see the black line is 2022, and the red line is 2019. So you could see almost all of the months during the year we've had less pilgrims than 2019, the same month. So that's interesting. And then they have a thing here saying they are seeing less people from the United States, and they are going into the theory that it might have to do with the war in Ukraine and everything, and so people may be staying away because of that. Here's another interesting graphic from statistics from Roncesvalles. 42,160 pilgrims got stamped there. 54% men, 45 women, 74% international. That's interesting. 25% Spaniards started from Roncesvalles. And that's interesting because in Santiago, it's 50-50. It used to be more Spaniards a few years ago. Then it kind of hit 50-50 a few years ago. And I think now maybe we are just over half international. But in Roncesvalles, it's 74% international, 25% national. That's interesting. 5 people between 91 and 100 years old started in Roncesvalles this year. Hats off to you. 61 to 70 is the biggest age group. And biggest country, starting from Roncesvalles, Spain, 10,000 people. France, 6,000. United States, 4,200. Italy, 4,100. Germany, 2,900. South Korea, 1,800. UK, 1,300, and then on from there. So I thought it was interesting to see numbers from the other end, not from Santiago end, but from the other end. And it seems like it's not been as crazy of a year further back on the Camino. So I'll be interested to see what next year looks like. I think next year there's going to be less people than this year. This year there's a pent-up interest, I think, on the Camino, and I think also it's the whole year effect has seen. You could totally see it on the last 100 kilometers. So if you're planning to walk this winter or next year, I think there's going to be less people than this year. So that's that. I was going to try and get some footage from the streets. Maybe next week I'll do a video from the square. I'll record it from there. That's what I was thinking. Hopefully it won't be a little bit better. I think next week is going to be a little bit better weather. Anyway, hope things are good where you are. Stay safe. Ciao.